Do you like your news a week and a half later? Then subscribe to my channel. I'm sorry, I've just been really busy. Anyway, the BBC was caught BBCing again. Hugh Edwards given suspended jail term for abuse images, which is just incredible. Incredible. There are people that said some spicy things on the internet that got actual jail time. This guy had apparently some of the worst category of images in his possession and little suspended sentence. How nice. But before we get started, something that will never get old for me. Have you been in an accident that wasn't your fault? Then you could be entitled to compensation. But what does get old is insurance companies' habit of lowballing you when you're at your most vulnerable and burying you under tons and tons of paperwork until you're too overwhelmed to do anything about it. I know how hard it is to be given the runaround while trying to get through a case and having to deal with work, family, and life in general on top of it all. It's far too many plates to spin alone, but luckily Morgan & Morgan is on hand to ease that burden if you become their client. All they need you to do is answer a few easy questions to get the ball rolling. And from there, you'll get your free case evaluation and your lawyers will keep you posted through your smartphone. Morgan & Morgan operates in all 50 US states, so even if you're one of the 5 people who lives in Wyoming, you can join one of over 3 million people for whom they have recovered over $20 billion. And if, God forbid, Morgan & Morgan does not win your case, the fee is completely free. But you can be sure that Morgan & Morgan has the means to fight for the best result possible, since they will put a team of lawyers, investigators and paralegals on your case. And your concerns won't go unanswered because 24/7 support is provided by almost 4,000 support staff. That's almost a whole legion. So, if you've been seriously injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan by going to forthepeople.com/Count Dankula or by clicking the link down in the description to get started on a claim. Disgraced BBC News presenter Hugh Edwards has been given a 6-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years, after he admitted charges of making indecent images of children. The court heard that among a number of WhatsApp exchanges with a man later convicted of sex offences, Edwards was offered naughty images of somebody described as young. I guess meant to be young. To which he replied, "Go on." He will be placed on the sex offenders register for 7 years. In July, the former newsreader admitted having 41 images, which were sent to him on WhatsApp, including some showing a victim aged between 7 and Jesus Christ. During his sentencing at Westminster Magistrates Court, he was also told to attend a sex offender treatment programme. Edwards was sent images by a 25-year-old convicted sex offender called Alex Williams. The court heard that in another exchange with Williams, Edward replied yes, followed by 3 X's, when asked if he wanted sexual images of a person whose age could be discerned as being between 14 and 16. He responded to Williams with amazing. The court heard he was also sent a link with more images, then discussed buying Williams a Christmas present. Okay. 2 months later, after yet another exchange, Edwards told Williams, "Don't send anything underage." However, this was not the last contact that Edwards had with Williams. The judge sentencing him remarked that the former broadcaster's long-earned reputation was in tatters. A BBC spokesperson said the corporation was appalled by Edwards' crimes. However, you see, so many people in the BBC get caught doing this stuff, it's mental, isn't it? It's just, there's quite a lot. I'm just saying. He has betrayed not just the BBC, but audiences who put their trust in him. Edwards pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images of children. Under the law, images can mean photos or clips. The Chief Magistrate, District Judge Paul Goldspring, accepted Edwards' submission that he did not make or create the images in the conventional sense, and instead met the legal definition of doing so by opening them on WhatsApp. Yeah, that is kind of a, right, okay, yeah, obviously send everybody to jail that's in possession of child porn, right? But that the charge is kind of bullshit where if someone sends you an image and you open it, or if you go to a website and open the website and those images are on that website, that legally is defined as you manufacturing CP. because apparently by you clicking it, it creates it in the cache on your computer. You know, it's just the same as, see, if you right click save as and download it, that's you creating a file on your computer. So a sneaky legal thing is they say that that is you creating CP. And a lot of people argue against it and go, right, come on, that is over. And I would agree, like, yeah, that is, because in the public eye, that sounds really bad. He was creating CP. God, he had them there and he was taking pictures of them. That's the image it puts in everyone's heads, but that's not what happened. Basically, even just by like clicking a link and opening a picture, that meets the legal categorization for creating CP, which I will agree is bullshit, but just go with the possession and throw them in jail on that. Just do that. Like, increase the I'm saying, like, increase the penalties for it, but the penalties are already very, very fucking severe for that. They're just not fucking applying them to fucking anyone. Guys are getting caught with like terabytes of the stuff, and they're getting, oh, you naughty boy, a little 6-month suspended sentence. It's honestly, it's the dumb. It's happening everywhere right now. It's happening everywhere where all these guys are getting a slap on the wrist. It's not just because Hugh Edwards is a big famous public figure guy. If anything, he would be the guy that they would nail to the cross, but they still didn't. But everyone is like pure getting away with it. And it's happening a lot recently, which is activating the old almonds an awful lot. The court previously heard that Edwards sent hundreds of pounds to Williams after he sent him pornographic images. While most of the images were of adult men, a significant proportion of the images were of children. Of the 377 images, 41 were indecent images, which means they were underage. The court heard that the Category A images Edwards was in possession of were mostly children aged 13 to 15. One child was aged between 7 fuck off. I don't like talking about this shit, man. I realise that it's a big major news thing, so like, yes, I do have to cover it. Lots of people have asked me to cover it, but it's just, I don't like this shit. The offences were committed between December 2020 and August 2021. Williams first contacted Edwards in 2018 via Instagram and has since been convicted and sentenced for distribution and possession of indecent images of children. And it was during that investigation that Edwards' involvement was revealed, the court heard. Through the hearing, Edwards sat leaning forward, his hand clasped in front of his mouth, elbows propped on his thighs. Summing up the case, the judge said that there was no evidence that Edwards did anything further with the images he received from Williams. The court heard Edwards had not directly paid for the images, but that there was clear inference that Williams would request gifts and presents after sending them, and that Edwards had sent money, described by the prosecution as amounting to around £1,000 to £1,500. Edwards had told Williams not to send images of people. I did that in one breath. Sorry. Edwards had told Williams not to send images of people who were underage, but only at a later stage. The judge said, adding, this is not a case where, despite protestation not to, nonetheless, the images were still sent. And the judge found Edwards' remorse was genuine, and he said that the former broadcaster's decision-making at the time of the offences may have been impaired by his mental health difficulties. He said Edwards did not pose a risk to the public or children, and an immediate custodial sentence was not necessary because the evidence showed he could be rehabilitated. The appropriate sentence would be 12 months for the most severe abuse images, the judge said, but taking into account the mitigation and early guilty plea, he said the sentence would be 6 months suspended for 2 years. It means that Edward will not go to jail unless he commits another offence within the sentence period. The magistrate also read from a pre-sentence report to highlight the impact such offences have on the victims. It described how distributing child abuse images perpetuates a cycle of abuse and can lead to ongoing traumatisation of victims, impacting them throughout their lives and potentially making them vulnerable to further sexual abuse. Edwards was found to have 7 Category A images, the most serious classification. He also had 12 Category B pictures and 22 photographs in Category C, the least serious classification. The Category B and C pictures showed children between 12 to 15. Reacting to the sentencing, the Prime Minister said he was shocked and appalled by the case. Until last year, Edwards was one of the main presenters on BBC One's News at 10 and often fronted coverage of major national events. He was the BBC's highest paid journalist, receiving between Journalists, am I right, guys? Receiving between 475,000 and 480,000 between April 2023 and April 2024. The BBC has asked him to return the 200,000 that he earned between his arrest last November and his resignation this April. The BBC's Director General said last week that discussions are underway about the possibility of clawing back money. Making indecent... this is probably going into the stuff that I just explained. Making indecent images, what does the law say? Making indecent images can have a wide legal definition and covers up more than simply taking or filming the original picture or clip. The Crown Prosecution Service says it can include opening an email attachment containing an image, downloading an image from a website to a screen, storing an image on a computer, accessing a pornographic website in which an image appears in an automatic pop-up window. So, you know, what are you supposed to do about that? Receiving an image via social media, even if unsolicited and even if part of a group, or live streaming images of children, which basically essentially means that if someone wanted to put you in jail, they just have to send you like a random picture of CP. They tried to do that to Alex Jones, remember when he was getting investigated, because and everyone ran with the story going, oh, there was CP on Alex Jones's email servers. It's because someone sent that to him to try and get him into trouble. That means if someone just really doesn't like you, see if they just DM you something and then put in an anonymous tip to the police, you can go to jail for that even though you didn't do anything. It's dumb as hell. It's a really silly part of the law. A court must also decide whether an offence falls into the category of possession, distribution, or production. According to the Sentencing Council, which issues guidelines on sentencing that courts must follow unless it's in the interests of justice not to do so, creating the original image counts as production, the more serious of the three categories. It adds that making an image by simple downloading should be treated as possession for the purpose of sentencing. In a statement, Derek Ray Hill, interim CEO at the Internet Watch Foundation, said, "It is shocking that an app most people have on their phone in their pocket allows child sexual abuse imagery to proliferate. As the regulator, Ofcom needs to utilise the full strength of the Online Safety Act and compel companies to use their best endeavours to prevent images from circulating in end-to-end encrypted environments." Now, I'll need to look into this because I believe there is a thing. Do not quote me on this. This is just something that I read a little bit about online. I haven't actually looked into it or researched it or anything, but apparently somewhere out there, probably owned by some federal agency, is a server that has all the CP. Essentially every piece of CP that has been found. Every single bit of CP is stored on this server. And what happens is social media companies, whenever any image or anything like that is uploaded to them, they are able to cross-reference all of these images with this server to see if any of these images are known CP. Right, so then what happens is, whenever you upload, you know, you're posing with your fish that you just caught, anytime you post an image, that gets cross-referenced against this server. And if it's just an image of you holding a fish, then whatever, it goes up online and nothing happens. However, if it cross-references with the server and it matches something that's in there, boom, it's immediately deleted. And I like that. If that's the case, it's a system, it stops people using social media to proliferate CP and stuff like that. Great. That's fantastic. That's good. Well, it's just immediately deleted, and I would hope that the account that posted it then gets reported to the authorities. I hope. Right? I hope that that's the fucking case. But basically, you know, that's good that that's out there, but it's also... I mean, I get why it exists, but I get a feeling that the elites have a back door into it. That's just how I feel. Oh yeah, it's totally to stop it being proliferated on social media. Yeah, it's totally. Yeah, I bet that's its main purpose. No, but anyway, I think this is shocking. This is absolutely shocking, and I'm noticing it everywhere, and it's really starting to bother me. Like, the soft touch on paedophilia by the justice system is really, really starting to freak me out. As well as many other people. Like, lots of people are going, he had, like, what on his computer, and he got, like, a fucking 6-week suspended sentence and all this type of stuff. And it's happening all over the place. There was even that guy, was it through in Hamilton, who literally, like, several times, like, snuggled a 13-year-old girl. But because he was under the age of 25 when he did it, he just get let go. I mean, he still gets sentenced, but he get no custodial sentence. I believe that they're trying to get him back in court to get him a custodial sentence now, because apparently the new Scottish court guidelines was, oh, were they under 25? Oh, well, we should only give him a little light sentence, you know, like they do in Japan, which is why the Yakuza were getting 14 and 15-year-olds to do their hits for them, because they would only get 2 years in a reform school, whereas if an adult did it, he would get a life sentence. So that's something that could end up happening over here. You could commit a really serious offence, and if you're under 25, oh, you naughty, naughty boy. Little slap in the wrist. It's terrible. It's absolutely shocking, and I don't like it. And I just want... Can we please just have an actual right-wing government? Please, not the Tories. They're not right-wing. It's just... I'm a father, and I just find this stuff really fucking concerning.